What up, high and wide fam? Welcome back to another edition of Midnight Misconduct. I'm Ducko Dave, joined by Derek. We're on the High and Wide Hockey Network and 102.9 The Game. Appreciate you joining us. Derek, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. Could be a little bit better if the Flyers could have came away with a win, but all things considered, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, we stole a loser point. And much as I hate the rule, it was, we got it tonight and it benefited us. So it is what it is.
Right? Say, like you said before the show, man, you got to play with the rules you're given.
Yep, exactly. These are the rules we're given. So, if they benefit us, sometimes it is what it is, regardless of my personal feelings about them.
Right.
But I do think, the team battling back, that comeback, that third period was great. I thought the penalty kill that they had early on in the third period, that was huge. Toronto had their foot on the gas. They were coming after us, couple close chances, killed it off, and then they come on back and score right away. They get another one on the power play. So, the resiliency of this team really showed tonight. And, they could have stolen a W. They didn't, but all things considered, like you said, had to be one of the it's all we could have hoped for, stealing a point.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, up until about the third period there, even honestly until about maybe 7, 8 minutes left, we were getting dominated. It was one of the first games in a long time that I've watched the Flyers get absolutely dominated. Because we're used to seeing either a pretty equal battle, or B, the Flyers doing the dominating. So, different type of approach needed there with the team. I think that obviously they answered, and they answered well. This is a team that doesn't give up. I mean, I've spoken about it. I can't tell you how many times. Like, this team has fight. This team has balls, like Tortorella put it. Like, they will not give up. And tonight was the perfect evidence towards that. Coming back from being down 3-1, being dominated by Toronto. Yes, they lost. They got the loser point, but they fought back enough to get that loser point. So, like, that's a deserved point in my book. And, if they'd have won it, good Lord, like, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, stealing that game and actually winning it would have been absolutely nuts. But yeah, being able to battle back, like you said, it was an earned point. And I call it the loser point just because I hate the fact that there's some games that are worth 2 points and some games that are worth 3. Like, if every game was worth 3 points, I'd have no issue with the rules. I just hate
Right.
games should have equal value. There's no reason for it. So it's not that the point was earned. I just hate the setup of it. No, it was absolutely earned. And connecting to get another goal, 26 on the season. Is he? If he's not at a career, he's approaching a career. What did he get last year?
I don't know. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say, was he up in the 30s? I'd have to look that up, which
Yeah,
halfway there now.
yeah. I'll see
But
if I can pull. I'll pull it up real quick. Yeah, but he's having a great season. I want to see what. I hope he continues it. I hope he does set career highs if he hasn't already.
Career highs 31 last year.
Okay.
Before that, it was 24 in 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. So 3 straight years he had 24 goals. But he's well on his way to career highs, because last year he only played 60 games and he had 61 points. So, he was a point per game player last year, slightly over. Now he's, 5 points off of that, but he's also 6 goals short of his career high in 6 less games. So I absolutely think he's surpassing that this year, if he keeps the pace up. But, we might see him. I mean, honestly, I could see him maybe hit 70 points this year. He's 21 points away, and I think that discounts the points from tonight. So he's less than that because he had the goal. I think he might have had an assist, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, 70 points is a very realistic target for him this year.
Yeah, and the fact that back-to-back seasons of 25-plus goals, that's huge for him. This is a player, 26 years old, just hitting his prime. Like, this is somebody that's, in theory, should be able to do this or improve on it over the next 5-6 years.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did have the assist tonight. So that's 2 points right there. He's at 51 points in 55 games. So, I mean, 19 more points, he hits the 70-point mark. And of those 19 points, I could see, what was it, like 6 of them being goals, so that he, at the very least, ties his career high. But hell, maybe he hits 35 goals. I mean, maybe he gets Austin Matthews type hot and hits 40. I doubt it, but how awesome would that be?
40 goal scorer, Travis connecting.
I don't think we're that far off from that being a realistic possibility, man.
I mean, one or two hot streaks, and that's an absolute possibility. Him doing something like that, without a doubt.
By the time he retires, 100%, I think he hits 40 goals.
Oh, I think he'll do it. He'll have at least one 40-goal season for sure. At least one. Listen, he's just entering his prime. This is probably gonna be, I think this is gonna be the best season of his career. I think that's how it's gonna be. Last year being the second best, so he's just catching that stride. He was middling kind of forward. Everyone kept seeing the potential, but he never quite reached. So I think last year he found that he's taken it to another level. This is going to be the best season of his career, and I think nothing but bright future ahead for him. He's somebody you want around for the next 4 to 6 years. Sign him to an 8-year contract. Do what you got to do.
Right. I like keeping him. I mean, we talked about it, I think, a couple nights ago, extending him or finding a trade partner. Like, sure, you could say, yeah, if the right deal comes along. But, man, ideally, I would love to keep him around. He's the type of guy that you build a contender with. And, I want him to be a part of this team.
What would be the right type of deal? Like where he's at right now, a 26-year-old forward, back-to-back 25-goal seasons, might reach, probably will definitely do 30 again, might hit 35, right. 70, 75-plus points. If he gets hot, a chance for you a point-per-game player. Like, what are you trading a point-per-game player 26 years old for?
I mean, you're talking multiple first-round picks, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to have a bundle of first-round picks, probably a prospect. Maybe an NHL player coming back to make the deal work, but
right. Because the money, honestly, I don't see the money being an issue. Well, the teams that's going to want to trade for him probably are a little bit strapped, but you'll get an NHL player back to make the money work.
Make the money work for them. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and then you get the prospect, you get the 2 first-round picks. I don't know. Maybe is there another pick involved, like a second-round pick?
Probably a conditional one tacked on if he signs an extension and they make it so far this year. So
right, so you attach a couple conditions to it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so you get two ones, prospect, NHL player that could be effective for you, makes the money work for them. And then another pick. If he signs the extension, it's a 2. If they make it to the conference finals, it becomes a 1. So then you get 3 ones, a prospect, and an NHL player. That's a package you got to be thinking about if you're trading a 26-year-old 70 to 80 point player.
Oh, 100%. You got to maximize that return because that's your guy. Couturier's the captain now, but Konechny is at that level where he's your superstar at this point. And if you're trading away your superstar, it's very reminiscent of what we talked about on Pod Street, I think 2 weeks ago. There needs to be a part of that deal that you can cling to and say, that's the Konechny deal and that's what it brought back. Or else it's a failed trade.
Yeah, there needs to be a marquee coming. We traded Konechny, 3 first-round picks is what we got. You say something like that, it's all right. You can wrap your head around that. Okay, you know what I mean? Yeah, we might not see it pay off for a couple more years, but you can wrap your head around and emotionally accept that. All right, that makes sense. We traded away a guy in his prime that's probably going to score at least 70 points a year for the next 7 years, and we got 3 first-round picks for it though. So that's how you have to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, 3 lottery tickets right there that could turn into 3 different Travis Konechnys potentially, obviously.
Yeah, so that's exactly what you got to be looking for. But since we're talking trades, Sean Walker popped up again. Rumored to, I believe you said it to me. Where were the rumors for Sean Walker that we were talking about in the potential first?
So Vancouver was one, Toronto was another, and the third was another West team, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're all Western Conference teams. This was, to be quite honest, I'll start out this way. I don't think it's happening with Toronto. I don't know if they have their first round pick, but I don't know. I don't see it. Now Vancouver, sure, I could see they've got some young guys that the Flyers could say, okay, maybe that if you're not going to be willing to part with a first round pick. But again, you're probably looking for a pick at that point in time. Oilers, Canucks, and Lightning. Sorry, I had one of the teams right. Lightning is the team. I can't see it happening. There's no first round picks there. They have no first round.
They traded everything. They mortgaged the future. Yeah,
exactly. So unless they're going to wow us with somebody that's going to play and someone that's young and somewhat of a reclamation project, I don't even think they have that. So Tampa is off the board for me. The Canucks, I had mentioned, I could see that happening. There's picks involved. There's young talent potentially. Like that would be a good fit. I think that would be a great team that the Flyers could talk to in regards to a Walker deal. The Oilers, I could certainly see too. I mean, I don't have much to say about the Oilers. Like, I know that their defense, their goaltending situation isn't the greatest either. I think that's what they need to worry about more so than anything is their goaltending situation. And they're barking up the wrong tree if they're looking for that with the Flyers at this point because
Yeah.
we're where we're at right now.
So with that, bring on the third member of the team, Paul, jumping in. So, Paul, we touched on a little recap, how the Flyers stole a loser point. And as much as I hated the rule, it played in our favor. And the only reason I hate the rule is because all games should be worth equal amount of points, not that teams don't earn loser points with their performances. We also touched on Konechny and the season he's having, how he's just entering his prime and should still be performing like this over the next 5, 6, 7 years. And when you jumped in, we were touching on the Walker trade rumors. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the whole platform and let you just hit every meal on the plate right there. Hit the steak, hit the veggies, hit the potatoes.
All right. It's a lot. 10 minutes, you got that far. Yeah, so they did steal a point, but at the same time, I thought they played a solid game for the most part. They just got Austin Matthews at times. I mean, talked about recently how good of a goal scorer he is. He's as elite as you get there. But like they won the expected goal battle in the game. Surprisingly, it was the bottom six doing most of the work. That's also probably because Matthews killed the top six when they were out there. But overall, I thought they, in a way, deserved the point. Some of it was score effects too. They were down 3-1, but I thought they deserved the point. It was a good effort, and I mean that's what this team's so fun with. They just never count them out. It looked like they were down and out, and then come back third period, even second half of the third period, bang bang, even scoring on the power play. Just never count them out. Matthews is fun, but he's no Garnett Hathaway. With that shove after the goal, he's a fun player. Besides that, yeah, Konechny was great tonight. I thought he was doing just classic Konechny stuff. He was playing an awesome game. He was getting in people's faces. He was annoying people. The letter didn't change anything in this game. Maybe we should be calling for Kuta's captaincy. Losing a point like that, pretty tough start.
Brutal start to the captaincy.
Getting bold.
He's the captain now. He's got to wear the
indictment on his leadership.
Blame, right?
He's no leader. Give the captaincy to Konechny.
He didn't get them up for overtime.
Yeah. Game one of the captaincy ends a 4-game winning streak.
That's the role of the captain in Philly, right? You just get blamed for all the
curse.
losses. No, but yeah, I thought Konechny was great. He's just such a fun player and did everything that makes him effective. And then on Walker, yeah, do you remember the three teams that were rumored? I came in there late. You were mentioning them.
Oilers, Canucks, and Tampa.
Okay. It feels like Tampa has been mentioned a couple times. I'm surprised Toronto's not on that list. I feel like they've wanted to right hand defenseman too.
When I wasn't reading off of it.
I have heard they want some size though as well, so maybe they're not as in on Walker for that reason. Right. I thought he played a good game tonight though. If I'm sure they were watching. He made a couple nice plays, particularly in the first period. I noticed him more. But yeah, I don't know which team he'll go. I think he'll definitely be on the move at some point here. But he keeps playing solid. I think the trade value is staying up. I know they're pushing for the first round pick. I don't know if they'll get it, but I don't think he's giving any reason for the trade for their asking price to drop at least.
Right.
I mean, at this point, I feel like 2 2s is well within reason. If you don't think you're gonna get I think the 1 is what everybody's hoping for, but like you said, it might not happen. But you get 2 2s, I'd be happy with that. That would be an okay return for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I'd have to check on those teams' compensation. I know Edmonton has a second this year. They don't believe they have one next year. Toronto, I want to say they don't have one of their years, although you said Toronto might not be on that list. Tampa has like no picks. So Tampa's an interesting.
Edmonton has all their first-round picks for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Tampa has to offer. I mean, they have even their prospect pool is not that strong. They have Isaac Howard, but I doubt Isaac Howard's in a move for Sean Walker. He's probably a little too good there. I think they have like one other okay prospect who I'm sure they're trying to dangle. But
mentioning Howard actually makes it interesting. What if we end up trading Walker and a pick to get a prize prospect? Like, what if that was the way it went down? So we attach a little bit something to Walker to get somebody like Howard.
That's interesting.
That is.
It'd be creative, which was not in Chuck Fletcher's wheelhouse, but seems to be a possibility with Danny Briere. I mean, I would like it. I mean, Tampa, I guess, has to figure out what they want to do. They're kind of probably in the Pittsburgh way, where you're just going to keep going for it as long as you have Stamkos and Kucherov and Hedman. So maybe they don't care about Howard as much, and they're willing to make a move like that. I still feel like you probably don't want to give up your top prospect for a rental second pair defenseman at best. Even if you're getting picks on top, I think that it's more important that they get a better player at their situation.
Fun fact, Edmonton has all their first-round picks for the next 3 years. Vancouver has no first-rounder or second-rounder this year, and then has a first-rounder the next 2. Toronto here doesn't have a second-round pick in the next 3 years. They don't even have they've got a third-round pick, but it's the Islanders' third-round pick, and then they have a first-round pick this year and in 2026. So all these teams have firsts. It just depends on the year. The only teams with 2024 firsts, Toronto and Edmonton.
So that brings another layer to it then. So if we are getting a one back for Walker, how do we value a one in 24, 25 versus a one in 26, 27? Like how do we value how far back? Do we care? Or if it's in 27, are we getting more on top of that?
It depends. I mean, in my mind, it's kind of twofold. Like, one, you have to focus on your timeline when you want to be competitive and when that first round pick is going to complement that. And the other is the timeline of the other team. If the team obviously is going to give you a lower first round pick because they're better. They're going to be in the 20s, 30s maybe this year because, realistically they're going to make the playoffs. They might make a push. That following year, it's a crapshoot. They could be, because you've seen teams like Vancouver go from just irrelevancy to best team in the league right now. But you've seen the opposite as well. Like everybody thought Calgary, even Pittsburgh to an extent, they thought they were going to be tops of the division or at the very least top 3. They're not right now. So I almost value a 2025 from one of these teams because there's a chance that they could fall off and give you a higher pick in 2025 than their pick in 2024.
I also think the idea that if you just view the pick as a trade value chip, right? So you go ahead, we get say we get a 2026 1 and a 2025 2. Now we just have 2 trade chips, right? So it can still affect the rebuild sooner. We want to move it up sooner. We just have an extra 1 or an extra 2 to offer. So I feel like what you said about the timeline is important. But just because we trade for a later pick doesn't mean we can't use that to accelerate the timeline on a shorter scale. So sometimes just view it in a vacuum. Like, hey, you know what? We traded this guy for a 1 and a 2, and we never would have got that. Yeah, granted, it's a 27-1 and a 26-2. But guess what? We have a 1 and a 2 for a guy that we wouldn't really have had. And now we go ahead, and now it's a trade chip, and it makes us, we move up in 2025. So that's something I like to think about. Just getting creative with it. Hey, yeah, kick that can down the road for the other team. But hey, look, now we had a 1 and a 2, and that's a package we never would have expected to get. But we were willing to take it a few years later.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's important to think that way, and the right way to think about it. Because ultimately you just want to acquire as many assets as you can, and who knows down the road how they're gonna use them, whether it's actually drafting or, like you said, trading. Um, but you just want to have all the assets at your disposal to throw in whenever you need it. So yeah, I mean, some people probably prefer the picks earlier because you want the prize right away. But if you're getting offered a second round pick this year or a first round pick in 2025, 2026, I think that you probably still take the first round pick. It's better value. You can use it differently down the road. That's how I would think, at least.
Right.
Yeah, I actually think that the more I've thought about it, I think Walker's definitely gone, but I think this is going to be an interesting deal. I think it could be something like that where we get more picks than we expect, but further down the road, or we package Walker with something else to get a prospect like I kind of mentioned earlier. I don't think it's going to be straight up like, oh, Walker for a 1. Like, obviously, everybody be excited about that if that's what it was, Walker for a first. But I feel like I could see a little bit more creativity involved with this. I think this is going to have a few more dynamics. I think there's going to be bidders, and Briere's going to have options. And it's always good to have options in whatever you're doing. So you can work with multiple teams about multiple deals. I think this Walker's definitely gone, I think, and it's going to be an interesting trade. And it's going to be a big storyline, I think, for the Flyers at the deadline. I think a lot of people, that's going to be the main trade. I don't think much else is going to happen after that, but I think it's going to be an exciting trade nonetheless. I don't think it's going to be a meh deadline. I think it's going to be a cool deadline.
So I'm not sure if you caught it during the game or not, but there was an injury to Cam York. I believe in the third, someone took him into the board, or second, because the Laurier dropped the gloves, fought the guy. Obviously, we don't know the extent of it yet, but does that change your opinion on a Walker trade by any chance?
I mean, I guess a little. I mean, I guess not knowing what the injury is, like having no news on it as of right now, I would say no, it doesn't change anything.
Okay.
But I think even the front office came out and said that, we know we have to plan for the future to compete for a Stanley Cup regularly. So I don't think they don't want to just throw the towel in on this season, but I still think, and I'm going to sound like Jack now, but like, I think they understand the assignment. Like, they know what they have to do.
Right.
Coots didn't return after that slash as well. I think he played one more shift and then didn't play. And obviously, I mean, it was a slash on the leg. I doubt it's going to be super long term or anything. But if it was, obviously that would affect the Flyers' chances in general, and you probably just sell at that point.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any updates here.
I would hate for them to become just true sellers. I want it to be a calculated trade. And
I still think that's the most likely. I like I said, the Coots thing was a slash. I mean, I guess you could break something, but I doubt it. It was probably not a long-term thing, so I think it'll be fine. And with like Walker, the guys that they're most likely to move, Walker, maybe Lawton, maybe someone like Zamula, like they're the kind of guys that if you move them and that's going to cost you the playoff spot, probably indicates that why you're doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Like if those guys happen to get injured, you should probably be able to overcome and still be a playoff team,
Specifically the blue line too. Like I think there's players that they'd be able to call up for an injury like this. I wouldn't be upset to see Andre back up. I think maybe Addard too, to some extent. I know Andre probably before Addard. I mean, I've been singing this guy's praise for months at this point. I wouldn't be upset seeing Belpedio back up with the team. I thought he played well in the short time that he had. He's not going to blow the doors off the place, but like I thought he did all right. I think he's serviceable at this point. So like, there's options certainly to mitigate the issues that you could run into by still trading Walker if Cam York's injury is something that's serious. But like, none of the scenarios are going to be ideal considering that there's an injury now, and you still don't want it to throw a huge wrench in your plans for trading Walker.
Yeah, York's a pretty significant injury. I'd have to see. I don't think it would change my plan with Walker. I mean, you still need to look to the long term. If York's hurt and you trade Walker and now your defense is lacking a little bit, that's just it is what it is. Wasn't meant to be, but I think you need to look to the long term. You can't be like, oh, we might miss the playoffs now, because I don't think ultimately that they cared that much about making the management, at least this year. So I think you still need to look out for the future there.
We've been doing so many episodes of this show, and it's only been like 6 of them because I'm starting to side with Paul and Jack. Like, I'm starting to understand the assignment, but no, I still won't play hockey so bad that way. But
Look, I do too. I'm
sitting here
disappointed
nodding my head along, like, yeah, you're right, yeah.
I was watching this game, fist pumping when they scored, disappointed when the Leafs scored, but at the end of the day, the long-term plan is what it is, and they should do what they can to supplement it the best.
Nah, I know you're not wrong. I'm coming around to that. So we a couple episodes ago, maybe it was last episode, but we were talking about greatness and Ovi's goal scoring prowess. But with Matthews' game tonight, putting him at 45 goals on the season, I believe they have 29 or 30 to go. Paul, do you think he's reasonably within striking distance of having our first 70-goal season since, I believe, Lemieux?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. I think he's been the best goal scorer for the last 3 years, at least. I mean, Ovi had that title for like 15 years. I think it's going to be Matthews and Bedard fighting it out for a while now. But it's Matthews' crown currently. And, I mean, I'd have to check what his shooting percentage is. I'll try to pull that up. But I think 60 every year is like not a crazy – not every year. But I think coming into a year saying he'll get 60 is not a crazy projection anymore. 70 is the more far-reached one, but it's nothing that I think is impossible for him. And the way he also scores in bunches a lot. Like he really goes on. I mean, I think it's his third or fourth hat trick of this year.
Right.
But yeah, he's just an incredible goal scorer, and he's got Nylander, Marner, Riley. The power play is lethal. He's got great guys setting him up. I don't see why it's out of the possibilities.
Interesting thing about Matthews, he has no other 50-goal seasons other than his 60-goal one that he had. As I'm looking,
does he have a full healthy season though?
One.
Yeah, I feel like that's his biggest issue.
His rookie year, 82 games, 40 goals. But yeah, no, he incredible goal rate. But yeah, and then he scored 60 in 73 games.
Yeah. And I was like when we were talking about Ovi, I mentioned like at the end a quick comment about Matthews coming for Ovi's record eventually. And I think it's unlikely, but I think honestly the biggest hindrance is his health, because Ovi was just his whole career was so healthy, and Matthews already has not had that fortunate luck. Maybe hopefully he stays healthy. It's fun to see guys be great, but either way, he's going to be one of the best goal scorers for a long time.
He is shooting at a 19.5% shooting percentage right now.
Okay.
One out of every 5 shots goes in this year.
There's certain guys because
this is without tonight's game included yet. It hasn't updated for tonight's game. So that number's going up.
Tonight.
Yeah, that number's going up.
The thing with is like there's certain guys. Most of the averages are around 10% or so. There's like the elite shooters. Stamkos comes to mind. He was always around like 16, 17%. I think Ovi was actually only like 12% because he shoots like 20 times a game.
Right.
I think Matthews is one of those guys that has always been around 16, 17% too. So I think he's above, but he's not like crazy above on his average.
Yeah, so career average 16.1, career low 12.2, which was just last year. Yeah, he's always been between 14 and 18 heading into this year.
Career low of 12. That's still like
crazy,
fascinating.
Right?
Pretty impressive.
Right. I despise the guy, but god damn it, is he good?
His release is so lethal.
Oh, it is. And just the poise that guy's got. Like it's incredible. You know, there's respect there. You know, I respect the guy's game. I think he's a great shooter. I just, man, I don't know him as a person. I just don't like him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's probably he's gonna be in the conversation for one of the greatest players ever. But what about greatest U.S. born player? Like, if we were ranking them, like, where is he going to stack up there? Is he going to go down as the greatest U.S. born hockey player of all time?
Ooh.
You got what? Ronick, Badano.
Yeah,
It's a
Patrick
tough
Kane,
one.
Patrick
Kane.
Kane.
TJ Sochi.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I think it's definitely in the possibility. He's probably already the greatest American goal scorer. I mean, he doesn't have I don't know if he has the raw numbers yet, but he's so good at goal scoring.
He's no John LeClaire. My bias is showing. I think there's certainly a possibility he could end up at the very least being one of the most prolific goal scorers in terms of American-born players overall. He continues this trajectory. It's not that far-fetched. I mean, he could certainly go down as the best, if not one. He could certainly go down as one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah, I mean, I feel. Go, Paul.
Not to keep hyping him up too much, but I was going to add, I think last year we saw like Konechny go at him and he just kind of backs down, doesn't always fight back like that. He's got those issues here and there, but his defensive game is honestly really, really good too. His defensive metrics the last 2 or 3 years have been in the elite class. And I don't think he really gets too much appreciation for that. I don't think people think of him as that type of player, and he is a 200-foot player.
Prolific goal scorer, underappreciated defensive game. Sounds like a Torts guy. We should go get him. I feel like we should go get this guy.
I don't know if he'll block shots though.
We don't want him to do everything. You don't have to be perfect. No, man. I think so. I mentioned that it'd be cool to be on 900 watch for Ovi, but being on watch for 70 goals for Matthews, like, as much as I can't stand the Leafs and just like snobbish Canadian media in general, but like, I would love to be watching the last 5-10 games of the season and seeing if Matthews is going to be able to get 6, 7, 8 in those last 5-10 games to get to 70. Like, I just want to see history. Like, none of us have seen seasons like that. How cool would it be to see a 70-goal season is where I'm at. So whoever does it, I'd be happy to see it happen.
Right. It's history at the end of the day. Like, you're watching history, doesn't matter who does it. It's still cool to see. Yeah,
we talked the home run race with Sosa and McGuire, right? Let's have a watch like that for Austin Matthews. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, and it'd be even better if you could get somebody else in that race with him, like neck and neck up until game 82. It's like, who's going to take it home,
What is Reinhardt's at 39 goals.
What's he's got to be in the 20s, his shooting percentage, right?
He's got to be with that type of numbers. I mean, because
I like Reinhardt. He's a good player, but
right. But 39, I mean, no one would have projected that at this point of the season.
Wait, you said he has to be in the 20s?
Yeah.
It's the high 30s. No, he's 27 and a half, close to the 30s.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Good for him. Contract year. Good for him.
Right.
Career shooting percentage 15.4 with a career low at 9.6.
Oh my God.
He's been one of the more underrated players in the league over the last few years, but this year's just been crazy.
Yeah, well, he definitely turned it on when he went to Florida a couple years ago. Whatever it was, system, team chemistry, just change of scenery. He definitely found a home down there in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maintaining a 27.5 shooting percentage is going to be nuts, but
right.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good player in Buffalo. I think he was probably around like a 60 point player. Really solid second line guy. But yeah, he's gone to Florida and just become a stud first liner.
He's got a great supporting cast. I mean, that's a huge difference between Buffalo and Florida too. So like that makes a difference, having guys being able to feed you the puck that are competent. But it's not a knock on his skill set or his ability as well. Like, he's obviously earned the 39 goals this year, the shooting percentage up, north of 25. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So, I mean, I'm anxious to see who's going to overpay him, because it'll happen.
Yeah.
This has just made me remember sometimes I randomly will think about how Timo Solani scored like, what was it, 76 goals his rookie season, and then just never touched it again. Imagine coming into the league scoring 76 as a rookie.
I shattered that record in my makeup pro. So whatever.
It's makeup pro numbers. It is insane.
Right, it is. Because I remember, I'm like, man, it's getting close to the end of the season. I'm not hitting it yet.
Honestly, trying to think about that stuff. Some of those standout seasons that never happened again, though. Honestly,
and he's a Hall of Famer. He had a great career, but just never. I don't think he ever came really close to that number.
Yeah, well, it makes me think of Giroux with his 100-point season. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing like that again. Like that. It's weird to think about how players just catch lightning in the bottle for that one season and go off. But I mean, not that Giroux was a great player. I'm not saying Giroux wasn't great, but 104, like he never got close to that.
I was there for that game, that last game. Yeah, that last game of the season, I was there in the press box with Philly Sports Network. And I remember because, obvious rules, you can't cheer like in the press box. You're not supposed to. My arm might have went up when he scored and got 100 points. And I'm like, all right, no more of that.
He had a hat trick that game, didn't he?
He did, yeah. That was I still remember that, man. That was a great performance. That was one of the better performances I've seen live. And I've seen some good stuff from Giroux when I went to games. I saw him score the overtime winner in game 3 of the 2010 Stanley Cup Finals. But man, that was exciting. That was just some exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But like those records, like think about Boucher. It was Boucher that had 5 straight shutouts. LA, he was in LA at the time.
With, I think it was Arizona.
Right? Oh, he was with Arizona? I thought he was with LA.
It could have been LA. I want to say Arizona, but either way, yeah, it was always funny. Boucher had that record.
Yeah, like it's just wild. Like, those are probably some of the most fun stats and little nuggets to remember. Those things like that. Because I'm not gonna lie, Boucher is the one that made me want to be a goalie. I just started playing hockey when Boucher came up. And we go to Eastern Conference Finals against the Devils, and he stones Pat Elias, the man.
Elias save, yeah,
all that. I'm like, I told my mom, I want to be a goalie, and I saw the tears well up my mom's eyes because she's like, I have to buy all new equipment.
And my son wants to be a goalie.
Yes.
You just had to pick.
Well, I mean, I've done a lot of crazy stuff. Did I ever show you guys my Flyers tattoo?
I think so.
Completely off the rails, right?
Nice.
So
nice.
Wow.
You can't see on the camera, like right in here, there's a girl's name. I come back from Afghanistan. I'm hanging out with these guys. They're all like 10, 12 years older than me. And we just go to Syracuse for a weekend while we're off, a 4-day weekend. And they're just like, they've been deployed multiple times. A couple of them been divorced multiple times. Like they just don't care about anything. They're just getting hammered and doing crazy stuff. So we're all going to get day drinking all day. And then they want to go to the tattoo parlor. They're getting tattoos. And the one guy's like, yeah, man, I'm getting this, this girl's name that I'm hooking up with right on my chest. I'm like, oh, no kidding, man. That sounds
great
crazy.
Idea.
I'm like, how long
her name too?
Yeah, I was like, how long have you been together? Pretty close, Paul, actually. He's like, 2 months. I'm like, I've been hooking up with this chick for 6 weeks. He goes, oh, yeah, what's her name? I'm like, oh, Jess. He goes, oh, mine too. So we get matching Jess tattoos on our chest of girls we had known less than 90 days.
Oh, man.
So needless to say, my girlfriend when I got back was not a fan of that tattoo. So for my birthday coming up, she's like, oh, I'm going to take you to get a new tattoo. We walk into the tattoo shop. And I'm like looking at stuff that I'm going to get. And she goes, he can get whatever he wants as long as it covers that up. Not a whole lot of things that can cover up a name across your chest in black ink. So
how long did that take? Was that all one session?
Yeah, all one session, about 4.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a lot of just shading over and over on the shading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he had to kind of hit the name, and then he wanted to make it look right. So you go over, make sure you got the name, then hit the logo, and then I'd take a break because part of it's right on my chest plate, right? So then I'm like, all right, give me a break. Yeah, I'm like, give me a break, man. He goes, all right. And he goes back and goes over it again.
I have a Charmander on my back. No joke. I have a Charmander on my back. What's that?
Tramp stamp?
No, right up here, like a shoulder blade.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
My buddy, when he graduated from high school, went to Jersey to college, and got a Pikachu tattoo. And after a couple years go by, and he actually passed away in a car accident. And so my idea with my other 3 buddies were like, hey, let's get some tattoos. Let's get like the starter Pokemon, Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle. So I acted on a whim because I'm impulsive, and I went because I lived right down the street from a tattoo shop here in York. And I'm just like, here's the picture of the Pokemon that I want. I'm like, he's like, what's a Pokemon? I'm like, oh fuck, I'm going to the wrong place. So I just gave him the picture. I'm like, are you confident you can do it? And he's like, oh yeah, I could definitely do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it took me about an hour and a half, and it got it done. And I'm like, this is great. My buddies never got it done. So I've got a Charmander on my back, and every time I've had family members, friends, they're all like, why would you get a Pokemon? I'm like, well, because my dead friend, I hope you feel like a jerk.
Yeah, I love that you have a Charmander tattoo, and it's a like sentimental reason.
Right. Well, yeah. And like the first time my sister-in-law saw it too, she was like, oh my God. She looked at Tasha, my wife. She's like, your boyfriend has a Pokemon tattoo. And I overheard it. I'm like, yeah, it's because my dead friend. She just looked at me. She's like, oh. I'm like, it's cool. Like, I joke because I can cope that way.
Yeah. Hold on, wait. 2 things. One, I was actually going to say that like you're going to inspire me because I haven't got a tattoo in like 10 years. I'll go get a Bulbasaur tattoo because that was always my Pokemon. That's always. And then you said the dead friend thing. I'm like, oh shit, I can't go do that. Now they had a plan. Like I can't.
Those other guys didn't follow through with it. You're good to go, man. You get the Bulbasaur.
But also,
you stepped in where they didn't pick up.
Yeah, I might go do that now because I'm like, I haven't had one in years. I'm like, I might treat I've been going through a lot these last 2 years. I might treat myself when I had some cash. But 2, you remember? I mean, I'm 34. So I don't know exactly how much older, your parents would be.
I'm 33. My parents are in their 60s right now.
Oh, cool. So, all right. So my parents were a little bit younger now because my mom had me really young. But
okay,
my parents' generation, they were all getting like Looney Tunes tattoos. Do you remember that? You remember? Yeah, right.
My mom's friend,
Sam, Tweety Birds, like they were all on that stuff.
My mom's friend had Taz tattooed, I think, on her ankle.
Yeah. There's no reason us millennials can't get Pokemon tattoos.
There you go. There it is.
Yo, Derek,
this generation's.
Yeah, Derek, we're starting a new trend right now here on Midnight Misconduct, the Pokemon tattoo trend.
The only bad tattoo idea is the girl's name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because
hold on, wait. You want me to one up you on that one? And listen,
all right, there's a couple.
Wait. I'm going to show it to you. It's actually a continuation. So went at the very same sitting that I was getting the girl's name tattooed right here. Is the same tattoo artist, same sitting. I was spent 7 hours in the chair. This was what else I got that day. That was 22-year-old me back from Afghanistan, getting a girl's name and strippers on his ribs at in the exact same time.
Spending a full day in a tattoo chair.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a buddy at work that like doodles, like just literally in the middle of the day, he'll like just doodle stupid stuff, but he'll doodle stuff and get it tattooed on him. Like he's got like a paper airplane with like just like dashes like going around his wrist. He's got like a shark that he doodled when he was, like 8 or 9 years old, tattooed on his arm. And I'm like, it's kind of cool because like, you did it and everything. I'm like, but you can definitely tell like a child drew these things, But so I'm just like, Christ, I could do it myself. Just give me the gun. Just like, man, But I was like, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. It's his own drawings. Like, hey, listen, I doodled on this. Go put, what I mean? That's pretty cool.
Right. My wife did that when we had our first child, my son. She got a tattoo because her song with him was "Paving the Runway" by J.J. Heller, and so she wanted to get a tattoo, and she's like, what should I get? I'm like, "Paving the Runway," like I think airplane, like think like paper airplane. So like I drew a paper airplane with like a loop, and the loop had the lyrics to it. Well, I guess whoever the tattoo artist was couldn't do that like with the lyrics in the loop. So she did something pretty cool with like the dashed lines, but she showed it to me and I'm like, this looks really cool. Like, that's awesome. And she's like, do you know like the paper airplane? She's like, that's the paper airplane that you drew. And I'm like, me? I'm like, that's the one I drew. And I'm like, that's even cooler. Because I'm like, it doesn't look that bad. All right.
I'm pretty good at what I do.
Right. I'm like, maybe I should start tattooing,
I took my wife to get her first tattoo. My wife's 8 years younger than me, by the way. So I had all these tattoos even before I met her. So she knows all of these, right? So she goes to get her first tattoo, and she wanted to get like a rose on her thigh and like kind of like up on her ass cheek.
My wife's
and
got
stuff
the rose on her side.
Yeah, right. So like the way she kind of like positioned it where she wanted it though, like it's like halfway up on her ass cheek. So like we go to this tattoo shop and she's basically like in a thong getting tattooed, and it's in like a glass room. Like anybody that walks in is just like seeing. Yeah. And she's just like laying down getting tattooed.
You're just like standing at the glass, like
Yeah, you're looking at like, what are you looking at? It's my wife.
Well, the funny
standing there
thing
like a
was-
bouncer.
Well, wait, the funny thing was I didn't like put together the situation in my head because I'm like, I don't know. She says I have ADD. I might actually. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm like looking at tattoo ideas for myself. I'm like over at like the boards, like, oh, this would be cool. Meanwhile, she's just sprawled out
There's
on
some
this
group
table.
congregating, like, hey.
Everyone come over to the tattoo parlor.
Like we're just observing.
He does great work. We want to see what he's doing. Look at his technique. It's so awesome.
Oh man,
That's great. I'm so glad we just did like a 6-minute segment on nothing but tattoos. Mostly my stupid tattoo ideas.
Hey, gotta keep it fun, man. Let's think about it. We've been talking hockey every night this week. Flyers particularly. It's like there's only so much you can talk about when things are a little bit slow. So it's like breaking it up with conversations like that's fun.
Yeah, I always like just letting it get loose. And anyway, so we're getting near the last part of the show. So actually debuting the new segment, it's going to be the Hold My Beer segment. So in this one, we will all give a bold prediction. However, the caveat is that whoever follows the bold prediction has to make a bolder prediction than the previous person. So whoever gets to go first has it easy. You can keep it simple, take it easy on the next person if you want to, but make your bold prediction, put your name on what you think is going to happen, and then the next person needs to elevate. It needs to be even bolder.
Do we want to do rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first?
Oh, you're even nicer. You know what? Let's go.
Or if you want to dictate, up to you. You're the host, man.
I was going to volunteer to go last because it was my segment idea, but I tell you what. No, I like the rock, paper, scissors. All right, everybody get close to the camera. Make sure we can see it here.
Here we go.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh. Everybody drew scissors.
Everybody? Wow. This is
all right.
This is bad radio.
All right. Okay. One more time. Let's do this.
Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Derek's lost. Derek's going last. Hey.
Oh.
So you're going last. Paul, I'll let you lead off so we don't have to do another one. So you go first, Paul. I'll go second. Derek has the boldest Hold My Beer segment.
Are we doing Flyers related?
Anything related. I always like the last segment to be anything. You make the prediction. We'll kick it around for a bit, and then I'll go. Same thing, then we'll go to Derek. But any kind of bold prediction you want. Try to keep it upbeat. Let's not do anything that's going to bring people down.
All right, I don't want to go with Matthews hitting 70 because we talked about that earlier. So let's go. McDavid is going to catch Kucherov and lead the league in points again, even after his slow start. I think he's still like 15 behind or something. But the guy's on a tear, and he is the best player in the world. 9 points, I think, in the last 2 games. So I'm going to say he keeps it going. Evanson's playing great.
So without tonight's updates, we have Kucherov at 90 and McDavid at 77.
All right, it's 13. I think that does count tonight.
Oh, does it count tonight?
I believe, yeah. I think he got up to 77 tonight.
I was going to say, well, because Matthews is still at 42 goals on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me check. He got his 59 now. Yeah, he's at 77.
Okay.
But all right, either way, so yes, he's 10 to 13 points down.
Either way, he's tied for third. He has to pass McKinnon though, too. McKinnon's at 87.
Oh.
Yeah, so McKinnon and Kucherov, and McKinnon's playing outrageous hockey as well. But McDavid he's the best player, and I think he wants it. He doesn't want. He's hearing the people saying McKinnon's better this year. He's not having it.
All right, wait. So I want to verify though. So is he going to catch Kucherov and finish first in points, or just catch
Yes.
Kucherov? So
No,
he's going to
he'll
catch
finish
Kucherov.
first.
Oh, so he's going to catch McKinnon. And, so McKinnon's not going to have
Yeah.
a resurgence. All right, he's going to catch them both basically.
I mean, I'm
and
not saying
finish
McKinnon's going to slow it down, but McDavid's just going to be continuing outrageous play.
Interesting.
Your thoughts on that there?
I could see it. Anything's possible when it's Connor McDavid in the conversation. I'm not going to bet against that man ever. Yeah, that is bold. It's good. I like it. I think it's certainly possible, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's a bold statement.
It's hard. I don't want to go, super easy starting off, but you also don't want to set the bar super, super high.
True.
Tough
See,
job.
you're nicer than I would. I would have set the bar so high.
Austin Matthews finishes with 75 goals. Best of luck to the rest of you.
Is that yours?
No, that's not.
I was going to say.
I was saying that's what you would have done if you were leaving.
Tortorella resigns tomorrow. Good luck, Dave.
I mean, I could do something crazy like Austin Matthews, finishes with 135 points or something like that. No, I had nothing planned for this because I actually was going to volunteer to go last and just be able to do something completely outrageous. So now we ended up doing the rock paper
Still
scissors. I know. So I'm trying to think of how to balance it out.
Go crazy.
That's why you let me go. That's why you let me go first. You weren't being nice. You just wanted to go really bold.
You go as bold as you possibly can because what I have in the chamber, I think surpasses it.
All right. So this is the homer me right here. The Flyers win the Metro. They catch fire. All right. Right there in March. March is going to be their best month of the season. And they go ahead and catch fire, and they win the Metro.
So they're 8 points back. Rangers have a game in hand. It's going to be tough, but I like it.
How dark can we get here?
Just don't make people cry, bro.
I'm not going to make people cry because I will explain it, and it's not going to be as
crime stats. Like, listen, all right, look,
no,
I'm thinking in the next 2 months, X amount of.
Okay. Carter Hart proves his innocence.
I'll be honest, I did not see that one coming.
Are you saying not?
And I said crime stats, which actually kind of cracks me up.
It is, yeah, because there's a crime related. Now, again, I've prefaced this on the show that I do with Pod Street Bullies. I feel like I might have even said it here. The allegations are horrendous. There is no excuse for that. However, they are allegations at this point. I'm not saying he's innocent. Also not going to say he's guilty. But in terms of a bold prediction, he proves his innocence. And I still don't think he returns to hockey, though. I mean, you can't after something like that being tied to it.
Are you saying he'll be not guilty or he'll be completely exonerated?
I will say not guilty. I'm not going to say exonerated because he still could have been a part of it, whether that was being fully involved or just, you want to say, accomplice, quote unquote. But yeah, that's that bold enough to top it off there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great explanation. He was the only one that came out and said through his lawyers that he will prove his innocence, right? He was the one.
There were a couple.
No.
There were a few.
Okay.
Yeah. I think McLeod came out and said that, or no, it was Dube.
Don't remember.
Dubé.
Yeah, Dubé said something. I remember maybe 3, but
yeah,
I don't know exactly. But I know there were a couple more.
Yeah. All right. Well, sorry for digging that one up, guys.
No, that's good.
No.
Again, I just think don't make people
segment.
cry.
No. I hope that didn't make anybody cry. If he's guilty, absolutely throw the damn book at him and the kitchen sink. Throw him away in jail forever.
It reminds me of the Bill Burr stand-up bit at one point, and he's talking about how there is some back and forth when it comes to domestic violence, like he used like the Chris Brown Rihanna thing. Like it's not like she just asked for some napkins and then he like, well, like can we just acknowledge there's some back and forth here? And then like the whole room was quiet when he did like 5 minutes, right? He goes, wow, like look how quiet it is. He goes, all right, can I offer an olive branch? Can I offer an olive branch? If anybody is beating the hell out of women, they should be buried under the jail. Right? Look, all we're saying is Carter Hart might be innocent. Nothing's proven yet.
Right.
If he did it, bury him under the jail. Right?
Yes, bury him further under the jail. Like where you were gonna think about burying him, bury him 10 more feet below.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody's saying this guy's a stink, but
no, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, this is ridiculous. He's innocent. No, like I'm not one of those loony guys. Like that's ridiculous. There's a reason his name was included, and I'll leave it at that. We don't need to go further.
If he's guilty, he's allowed back in the NHL, but he's not allowed to wear pads.
Good punishment.
I like
good punishment. But who's going to sign him?
To bring that to some WWE, do you know Mankind used to play lacrosse in high school and didn't wear any pads?
That fits the bill. He's a psycho.
Mick Foley, like he did it to train like I read the book so long ago. It had to do with like, he knew he wanted to be like a professional wrestler, wanted to get in the character, and he wanted to get used to getting hit.
Get the pain tolerance up.
I'm picturing Happy Gilmore in the batting cage right now.
He goes out there and he would just play lacrosse goalie with no pads on.
Oh, he was playing goalie.
Yeah, he was a lacrosse goalie with no pads on.
That's psychotic behavior.
It's why he had split personalities in his whole WWE career.
Right. How many guys did he portray? You got Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love.
Mick Foley himself. He was
Mick Foley himself. Yeah. Commissioner. Like, goodness. Oh, man.
All right. Well, that's a fun way to wrap up the show, guys. I like that segment. I did not see that one coming from Derek. Derek having the last, shot there. He took a nice hack. For all the high and wide guys, at Flyers HW, Tie My Skates, Pod Street Bullies, Behind the Stripes with Dave Jackson, and for all the 102.9 The Game listeners, appreciate you tuning in. Please come back again. We'll be back tomorrow night for the last one of the week. Later, guys.